We have been talking about doing a Q&A episode from questions that are sent in by our listeners, and today that is what we're going to do. So we are going to go right into it.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
So first of all, I just have to say thank you so much to everyone that submitted a question. I think it was so fun to start gathering these up. And if you have a question that didn't get answered or wasn't covered in here and you want to send a question, feel free to do so. At any point, you don't have to wait for these Q&A episodes to come up because we can gather up the questions or I can focus specific episodes around a question as well. So if you have a question at any point, please feel free to send it to us. You can either email it to us or you can send it in an audio message on our SpeakPipe. Either one will work, and both of those links are in our show notes. So if you ever have a question, that is where you can send them. So let's go to the first question. Oh, I'm so excited for these. Okay, number one. So is Rhonda V. And her question is, it says, I have a mindset question. I tend to have different mindsets at any one point. Maybe it's the drastic seasons here in Maine. Sometimes I just want to be outside all the time, meditate, hike, and eat granola. Other times I want to be strict to my routine, get things done, excel in business, etc. But I go back and forth all the time. Maybe I'm nuts, lol. Any ideas on how to integrate multiple moods into one consistent routine? And I think for this question, she actually asked this in our Facebook community, and I told her I wanted to do this in on this episode because I can expand on it a little bit more. But I think this feeling is so much more common than we realize. Like I know I have felt this where I want to be so precise with my routines, and then I also want to just let all the routines go and do, all the fun stuff, but neither one feels great. You have to find that perfect balance for you where you have some structure, but you also have some flexibility and freedom to live the life that you want. And that is why we're creating these routines in the first place, is giving ourselves that framework to be able to create the life that we want while being able to actually enjoy the time and not stress about all the things that need to be done, and vice versa, not stressing about all the things that need to be done, but actually make sure that we're able to have the flexibility to take the time and let ourselves go a little bit and enjoy life. So it's a really uh it's a teetering balance, and you will have to find what works best for you. But I will say that one of the best things that you can do to discover what you're dealing with is to journal. And it can be as simple as just taking a notebook and starting to write down what you value most in life, and just ask yourself that question. It's as simple as that. Like, what do you value most? And then we start to create the routines that are necessary in those areas of life to give us enough structure to be able to keep up with those responsibilities of work and home management while being able to get out and have fun. So, if you value, she mentioned that she wanted to excel in business. So, if you want to be successful in your business, the question that you would ask yourself and journal about is, what does success mean to you? What does that look like? And just let it go and just start writing and just see what happens, and just keep asking yourself why, or what does that mean, or what would this look like? And then if you are valuing family time, if that's one of the things you write down as your values, what does that mean? What do you consider family time? Is it just being together at home? Is it going out and doing adventures or activities together? Like, what do you consider to be meaningful family time? Because that's going to play a role in what you're doing. You might realize as you start creating your routines that you have more family time than you realize already, but you're focusing on different things at different times. Or you might be very successful in what you want in your business. You just need to get a little bit more intentional on the time that you're spending so that there isn't so much fluff that your time is being spent on. So you really just want to start asking yourself these questions so that you can get more to the bottom of what you personally value most. And then once you know what you do value most, then you can begin to live that life by creating the routines that are going to help support that lifestyle. So I think the biggest thing here is that it should never be all or nothing. When we have routines, the goal is that we will find the routines that work best for us to help us feel organized in our home, be able to dedicate quality time to our business, and also be able to put both away when it's time and go out and enjoy those hikes without feeling like everything is falling apart or feeling guilty that you are out and enjoying those hikes. So it's all about your core routines to support you where you need and then enjoy the time doing those things that you love. So, thank you for your question. The next one is Jane S. And she asked, do you do your daily 7 home routine every day, even on weekends? And my answer to this is no. So, my daily 7 home routine is my default home routine. Like when I talk about a home routine, that is my home routine. So, it is my foundation of what to do when it's time to clean my home or when everything feels like it's falling apart. So ideally, yes, I would like to do it daily, but realistically, that just isn't how life works. I don't get it done every day, and I'm okay with that, but it's still my daily routine that I consider to be done daily if I can. So if it works out, I'm not going to stress about not being able to do it one day and I just pick it up the next day and I move forward and that's okay. So typically, I end up doing it. I try to do it every day throughout the week. So Monday through Friday, I do try to do it every day. Like I said, some days are absolutely chaotic and crazy because they're packed full of things that are going on, or we're not home, or, I'm not home, but my husband is, or however life just flows. So there are days where I have to skip, but if I'm home and my routine throughout my day is my day stack is somewhat normal, I make sure that I get it done. And the reason that I call it my daily 7 home routine is because the goal is, yes, to do it every day, but anytime that I need to kind of reset my home or it's time to clean my home, that is always my first routine. I don't start other projects in my home until my daily 7 home routine is complete because that sets me up with a reset home and then I can move on to any other house projects that I want. Otherwise, I just get too distracted. I get too overwhelmed. It takes me too long. And this just gives me that security and that foundation to be able to do what I need to do really quickly. And then I don't have to like worry about if it's going to be too messy or too much next time I clean. I'm not going to have to worry about doing a 4-hour cleaning project because I know that my routine takes me 20 to 30 minutes. I can get it done and then I feel better. And then if I have time, I can move on to something else and continue to get projects done if that is what is on, on the calendar for that day. But that is my goal is but yes, if you can't do it every day, you are just fine and you can still have a daily 7 home routine even if it's not done every day. And if you need some help actually going through and creating your daily 7 home routine, that is episode 5 if you want to go and listen to that to get yours created. Or if you want to just copy mine, that's episode 23. You can totally do that. You can listen to what I do and see if it works for you or just tweak it however you want. You're totally welcome to do that. That's why it's on the episode. So thank you for your question. So next one comes from Mary P. And she says, I am a mother of two, aged 4 and 7. I don't currently have a schedule for my routines. I work 9 to 5, and my house is a mess every day. I wait and do all my cleaning and laundry on weekends, but then I'm exhausted and tired before the week even begins. How do I organize my time better? So, this one is also very common. So many of these, like, you are not alone. A lot of us get super overwhelmed through the week. And then I know I used to wait until the weekends to do laundry and cleaning and everything. And then, yeah, you're exhausted before you even go into your week. And then it starts all over and you never kind of get that reset. So when you have no schedule at all, implementing routines and a very structured life can feel overwhelming. But at the same time, if you have no schedule, your life probably already feels pretty chaotic. So we do want to start with a foundation, but we want to make sure that we're doing it slowly enough that we can build the consistency without getting overwhelmed and just giving up. So I do have some things that will help you with that. At audityourhabits.com. So it's AUDIT, like audit yourhabits.com. I do have a free printable Audit Your Habits guide. So you can go and you can grab that, and it's basically journaling prompts that will walk you through my 5 first foundational routines that I would recommend doing. And they will help get you thinking about these 5 areas. And the 5 areas are your morning routine, your meal planning routine, your daily 7 home routine, your movement routine, and your budget routine. And these will just help you start thinking about what you're currently doing in these areas to start to recognize where you might want things to shift. And if you are enjoying that and you want to start and begin with these 5 foundational routines, I also have a blueprint, and you can get it at audityourhabits.com, or you can go to yourorganizedlifeblueprint.com, and that will be a either printable that you can do. You can do the PDF download, or you can spend a little more to get it off of Amazon, and then they will actually send you like the physical copy of this workbook, so you don't have to worry about printing it or anything like that. So that is another option, and that includes your Audit Your Habits guide, but then it also will walk you through actually creating a simple routine in these 5 areas so that you can begin to implement just one at a time and just focus on one and then move on to the next one until you get these 5 foundational routines set. Because like I said, if you try and do all of them at once, it might feel really overwhelming since you mentioned that you don't have a schedule for your routines at all. But once you have those 5 routines implemented, then what you want to do is you'll actually want to begin kind of structuring your day with a little bit more intention. And that is where I use what I call a day stack. And when you are starting the day stack, I don't want to I don't want to give you too much information and to have it be overwhelming at all, but I also want you to be able to come back to this episode and move on to the next thing when it's time. So, if this is too much, just start with the Audit Your Habits guide and work forward from there. But when you are ready to actually begin structuring your day a little bit more, then I want you to go back to episode 11, where I will help you to prioritize those tasks and create a flexible daily schedule. And that's using a template that is going to walk you through like actual hours of your day just to get you thinking about it. But then once you have that template and you get that organized in a way that makes sense for your life, then you can go to episode 67, where you're going to then take that template and then you're going to organize your time by planning out your day stack, which is my version of time blocking, which I think is so much easier and more flexible than like the generic time blocking that you think of. And I absolutely love doing a day stack. And I have noticed that it is very helpful for other people that their brain works similarly to mine. So if that is helpful for you, I think that would be some really good resources to go to. But I think the first thing that you're going to want to do is to begin with those first 5 foundational routines. And I always recommend the morning routine as being the first one. So if you need some help with that, go back and look at the morning routine episodes and begin that Audit Your Habits guide so you can start kind of getting some ideas on what you would like to do with those mornings. So hopefully that will be helpful for you. If you need to look at any episodes, I will say right now, you can go to our Facebook community. It's at facebook.com/theroutineadvantagecommunity and go to the pinned post at the top of the group. There is an episode library where you can use the search function and search for any topic. So you could search morning routine. And it would come up with that and just start with the morning routine. And that is going to help you with any routine you're trying to implement. It will light up all of the episodes that we have on that topic that are titled with that keyword, and then you can actually kind of just pick and choose which episodes would be best for you at the time. Or I mean, you can always start at the beginning and go through too, but that is a lot of time to dedicate. So if you're looking for something specific, that might be something that you want to take a look at. All right, so moving on, we have Sarah K, and she actually has two questions. So we're going to start with the question one. And she said, first one is about touching on the subject of outside of the home routines, like literally the backyard. Wondering how you and your husband go about fitting yard work into your home care schedule, and also tips for someone who is not sharing the workload with another person. How to make time for both inside and outside chores. I feel like either the how inside of my house looks nice or the outside, never both at the same time. And I'm gonna be honest right away with this one. I do not do the yard work. Not because I don't enjoy it. I actually do enjoy yard work. But I just my husband loves it. And so he does that and I do the inside stuff. So that's typically what we do. However, there are additional tasks that we do that will play into this, and you could easily just swap them out with inside, outside, things like that. So I just wanted to be honest about that in the first place. So um, as I was talking about those foundational routines to get set up, I think that is going to be the biggest um, helping factor here for you. Because if you're struggling with inside and outside, we want to get the inside really kind of honed in. So you have those building foundational blocks of routines that are creating the framework of your day or your week, however, you play that out. But when you have those five foundational routines in place, then you can begin to build that day stack that I was just talking about to have the structure in your day so that you can plan out your week. And where I'm going with this is because then you can use something that I call an annual task list. And if you have not listened to this episode yet, you will probably want to. You can go back to episode 48 on building an annual task list so that you can get stuff done without feeling overwhelmed. It is crucial for me to feel like I have a handle on things and I'm not just always trying to catch up and remember to do things. It's so critical for me. So basically, you will have your five foundational routines in place. So that is your morning routine, your meal planning routine, your daily 7 home routine, your movement routine, and your budget routine. You have these five in place and you're feeling pretty dang good. And then when you are planning out your following week with your day stack, I like to plan out my day stack on early on Friday mornings during my morning routine, and I plan it out on Friday mornings for the following week. And when I'm planning it out for the following week, that's usually Monday through Sunday is what I'm looking at. And what I'm doing is I am planning out my day stack, but I'm also taking a look at my annual task list, which is the list that I go through in that episode of episode 48. And what it is it's all of our additional stuff. And when you listen to that episode, it'll make a lot more sense. But this is where you could do your outside yard tasks, your additional things like cleaning out vents and ceiling fans and cleaning carpets or any of those other tasks that you wouldn't do on, like that daily basis. It's all of the other things. It's getting them organized in a way where they aren't so overwhelming. So if you know you have a lot of yard tasks, this is a good time to just plug those in. Like, is it your flower gardens? Is it your actual garden gardens? Is it mowing the lawn? Is it doing any sort of outdoor projects? Like all of those different things. Is it sweeping your porch or like staining your deck? I don't know what you're doing, but it's all of those additional tasks that you might do annually or even monthly that can go in a list. And then when you're planning out your week, you can see what you have on that month and then just divide it up throughout the weeks of that month. So this will make a lot more sense. When you listen to that episode, it might feel a little chaotic as I'm explaining it right now, but that is a really good way to be able to balance your structure inside the home and outside the home when you are plugging it into your day stack where it works for you so that you're not feeling like you have all of these things to do and that one or the other just needs to go by the wayside. You can actually make time to do both while still having some flexibility for you time and to actually enjoy the summer. Especially, I'm assuming this is focused on summer tasks, but maybe it's not. Well, actually, it probably wouldn't be because if it's winter, you're still going to have snow and all of that stuff. So, either way, no matter what time of year it is, it will work for you. But that is what I would definitely suggest doing is having your annual task list so that you can balance both. And if you need a good planner for this, I will just mention that my absolute favorite paper planner is coming out soon for 2025. I did look it up before I did this because I knew I was going to want to mention it for you guys. It is the Dream Planner by Horatio Printing, and that is spelled a little bit differently. So it's spelled HORACIO PRINTING. So it's HoratioPrinting.com, and their 2025 planners are launching September 24th. So mark that in your calendars because it is such a good planner. And my favorite one is the black leather book-bound version of their dream planner. And actually, if you use my code, which is Renae15, and my name is spelled RENAE. So it's Renae15, Renae15 for 15% off. You can get that when they launch. And I know it's on my calendar. I am so going to be ordering. We are going to be kind of out in the boonies that day for some vacation, and I'm a little concerned that I'm not going to have enough reception. So I will do my best to get it ordered, but I'm gonna be like on that launch team to or not the team, but like on that day, I'm gonna be ordering mine for sure because I do not want to miss out and have them sell out before I can get it. But that is my absolute favorite planner, and it's because it has so much space and margin with also having enough structure for me to do what I need to do in the planning process, and I absolutely love it. So if you're looking for a good planner, that is a really good one to go to. Okay, the next question is it does mention Labor Day. So this was sent in prior to Labor Day. So we do know that Labor Day has already passed by the time this episode airs. So the Sarah's second question is the second topic is about spending money when items are on sale. For example, the upcoming Labor Day sales. Do you think it's a good idea to take advantage of sales and buy items you know you will use eventually just because they are on sale, even though you might not be needing to spend the money on them at the time? Like, say, a skincare product you use is on sale, but you aren't going to be running out soon. Do you think it's a good idea to buy on sale or wait until you actually know you need to buy it? So, my answer for this one is actually like, first of all, if you're asking this question, I'm assuming that you have a budget set up, but if you don't, that is where you're going to want to start before you even consider buying on sales or anything like that, or buying during sales. And if you haven't gotten your budget set up yet, you're going to want to go to episode 7, where you set up your base budget to build your template. And then episode 16 will talk you through like what you actually do now that you set up your base budget and how to move forward with it. But your budget is your budget and you get to decide where your money goes. And so what I do, or what my husband and I choose to do with our budget, is going to look very different than what you choose to do with your money. And so you can do whatever works best for you, but knowing that you're already asking this question is a really good thing because you're aware of where the money is going. So you get to decide whether or not you want to do it. But I do have some tips on whether or not that might be worth it to you and some things that you might want to consider when you're looking at what to do with this decision. So, number one, if you're expecting sales to come up like Labor Day sales, you want to plan for this during your monthly budget planning. So your ideal time frame to plan for the month is at the end of the month before. So once you have your base budget created, that you have a template, so you don't have to like start from scratch every time you're building your budget. So you'll have a template, and then as you are moving into the next month, before the current month is over, so usually within that last week, maybe the last few days of the month, you want to pull out that base budget and have a look at your template for the upcoming month and then tweak anything that's needed to be adjusted. And so that way you have a plan going into the month. So if bills are going to be a different amount, you want to adjust that. If your income is going to be a different amount, you want to adjust that. And this is a good time that if you are looking at some upcoming holidays or big sale events, that you can prepare for that while you're doing this budget planning for the month ahead. So if you know that Labor Day is in that month and you're expecting Labor Day sales to be coming up, you can actually put additional money in those funds, whether it is your essentials category or whatever relevant category it is that you're planning to purchase. Maybe it's even home decor, like whatever you're planning for, do it the month prior as you're planning for the month, so then you know that you need to adjust other things. So if you're putting more money into one category, then you know that you're going to either have to take away from a different category, or you're going to need to adjust your income or whatever is going to fluctuate. Then you can actually make those decisions ahead of time. And if you don't want to spend the extra money to take advantage of the sales, then you can feel good about saying no when those sales come up and you can just ignore them. So that is one way that you can do it. And if you are wondering how to maybe even create like an essentials list, because I have an episode that touches on having an essentials list that I think is super important to have when you're creating a budget, because then you know what you're preparing for. And this might help you to really figure out how often you need to purchase certain things. So then you feel better about knowing if it makes sense to purchase those in bulk or when sales and discounts happen. And that is episode 17 if you want to take a look at that to add to your budget. The second thing that you want to consider when you are trying to decide if you want to be spending this money is being really honest with yourself. If you are actually needing it or if it's something that you just want. Because if you are kind of a good impulse shopper, um, you might be telling yourself that you need it, but I know for myself, there are times where I know I'm just convincing myself that I could use it and that we need it. But when I really think about it, it's like, no, I just want to buy it. So it's not saying that just because you want to buy it, you can't buy it or you shouldn't buy it. That's not what I'm saying. But just making sure that you're being very honest with yourself so that you can make the best decision for you. And if it is something that you just want to buy and you choose to buy it anyway, that's okay. But make sure that you're not just telling yourself that you need to buy it to make it feel like it's a good decision. So it's just making sure that we're honest with ourselves when we're looking at purchasing something. And then the third thing that you'd want to probably consider when you're thinking about doing this is that if you find that you're running into this situation fairly often where you are either running into like some big holiday sale or just general big sales that you come across that could save you a decent amount of money on things that you do use regularly, you might want to consider a sinking fund if you can't plan for that ahead of time. So say you often see these big sales come up, but you have already planned out your month and you don't really want to, go too far off of the path of what you had budgeted and planned for, because you want to stay on plan so you can reach your goals. What you could consider doing is, if you see these sales pop up often, around your city, whether it's, maybe big bulk grocery items go on sale, like local beef or big pantry staples. I know, like, my parents have an Amish store near them that they have like big bulk pantry items that have really good deals sometimes. And so it's things like that. When you come across those where they're not planned sales, but you do want to take advantage of those without throwing your budget off, you might want to consider doing a sinking fund. And that could be, anywhere from groceries, skincare, household essentials, whatever works for your budget. But if you're coming across these things and you would like to take advantage of the sales because it will save you money, because you do use it often and you could buy it in bulk to save money over the long run, you could do a sinking fund that just takes a little bit of money and just plugs it into this sinking fund so that it builds over time. So when you do come across these sales, then you have some money already put away specifically for these situations where it's not going to throw off your monthly budget. It's almost like a little savings account, but it's earmarked directly for this type of situation. So that is something that you could consider as well. And that, if you kind of want some more ideas on sinking funds, episode 85 will walk you through like what it is and some ideas on what you might want to set up as a sinking fund. But that would be a situation where, if you're coming across this often enough, maybe setting up a sinking fund for that is the right idea for you. So those are some options, and you can consider those. The next question we have is from Kate H. And she asked, how can I create a cleaning routine that helps make me want to clean consistently? So this one is hard because we all want to clean, but I think the thing that we struggle with the most with any routine, not just cleaning, is staying consistent. And we all have really good inspiration and we have a good desire to have routines and be consistent with everything. But when it comes down to it, it is a really big struggle for so many of us. So there are a few things that I have found that work really well for myself to be consistent. And so I want to share those with you. So, number one, I think it's really important to keep it simple. So when you are building your cleaning routine, now, like I said, I have the daily 7 home routine, and that is on episode 5. But when you're building a cleaning routine, you want to keep it super, super simple. Number 2, you wanna keep it short. My daily 7 home routine is that's what it is. It's 7 or less, 7 tasks, but I would not go over 7 because it just becomes too much. And number 3, I would suggest doing whatever routine you have in the same order to become more efficient, and it's less hassle to get it done. So when I start repeating it over and over and over in the same way, I get faster at it and I don't have to think about it as much once I start doing it over and over. And then I also have a trigger task with it that kind of goes into that same order. Like the very first thing that I do in my cleaning routine is what I consider a trigger task, and that is going to launch me into my routine. So when I do that first task, my body automatically just goes through the motions to start doing the rest of my routine to get it done. So it doesn't feel like as much of a chore or a hassle to go through my cleaning routine because I've done it so many times over and over and over in the same way. And then the fourth tip here would be to not let yourself get distracted. And I know this is easier said than done. And if you struggle with concentration, I would say to set a timer and just power through and have that routine even written down in the beginning so that you know exactly what you're going to, and try really hard not to let yourself get distracted, because this is something that a lot of us will do where we're trying to start cleaning up and we'll be, focusing on clearing off the counters, and then you go to put something away and you notice something else is messy, and so then you start picking that up, and then you notice that the blankets on the couch need to be folded, and then you go to fold the blankets on the couch, but then you realize that one of them kind of smells funky and you want to go put that in the laundry. So then you go to the laundry room and you go to start putting a load of laundry in, but then you realize like I should probably gather hangers. So then you go up and gather hangers, and it's just continues, and you just start getting distracted and doing all these random tasks, and pretty soon you have been cleaning for 2 hours and you feel like you have done absolutely nothing when you're exhausted, and you still feel like your house is a mess and you don't have any fully accomplished tasks done. So, what I want you to do is to create your daily 7 home routine, and when you do this, you will go through and figure out what your 7 priority tasks are for your home to feel good and reset. And then you do them in the same order, and you do not allow yourself to do anything else until those 7 are done in that order. And then once you do that, you have your whole home reset, or your priorities at least reset within those 7 tasks. So it should take you like 20 to 30 minutes tops to get those reset. And then if you have additional things you want to do, then you move on to do those. So if you want to clear out a cupboard or a drawer, or wash the bedding, or do those extra tasks, you do those after you do your daily 7 home routine. And I find that that is so helpful to keep me consistent, because then I'm not trying to do too much at once and getting overwhelmed and exhausted. If I know that I can reset our home in 20 to 30 minutes, and then I will be done, and I can choose to continue or I can choose to be done at that time, I am so much more likely to just get it done, feel really good about the state of our home, and then at that point I can either walk away and do something else, or I can be like, "No, I'm in a good mood today. I have a lot of energy. I can move on and do additional tasks." And that allows me to do it, and I am way more consistent when I or since I have started this routine. And so I've been doing this for a few years now. I think it's been like 3 years now that I've been doing my daily 7 home routine, and I kind of fell into it by accident, but I it is the only thing that I have been able to stay consistent with, and it really hasn't changed much. Once I found what works really well for me, that is what helps me reset my home when I feel like everything else is falling apart. And it has been able to be a very consistent routine, which I have been very thankful for. And then a tip number 5 for this is once you create your daily 7 home routine, and you figure out when it would be best in your life to complete it, try to plan it for the same time frame if you can. Like maybe it's every morning, maybe it's every afternoon, or it's an evening, where whatever time frame it is, try to do it for the same time frame so it just becomes a little bit more automatic, like that's just your schedule. But if you can't, you want to make sure that you're planning for it. So as you are planning out your week, make sure you're plugging in 20 or 30 minutes to do your daily 7 home routine, because you're going to be more likely to complete it if it is scheduled in and it's on the calendar. You've already plugged in the time for it. So hopefully those will help you walk through that. But like I said, if you need some help building your home routine, it's episode 5 is to create your own daily 7 home routine, and episode 38 will actually walk you through that trigger task and kind of walk through like what I mean by that. All right, next question is Jessie R. And she said, I have absolutely no routine in my life, and my ADHD doesn't help matters. I need all the help I can get. Where do I even begin? So it kind of goes back to some of the things that I have just gone through with the other questions. So I'm kind of doubling up here. So hopefully this isn't kind of annoying, but you really just want to take your time to create those super simple, sticky habits, like things that are so simple that they're easy to be consistent with and they don't feel as daunting. So, like I had mentioned earlier, if you go to audityourhabits.com to grab that guide, or the Your Organized Life Blueprint if you want a little bit more to help you set up that framework. But I think the very most important thing is to set up those 5 foundational routines, because if you have no routine in your life and you feel like your ADHD kind of gets you, more distracted, it's going to be these super simple routines that hold you to your consistent habits. So, getting that morning routine set up, that's going to be your very first one to focus on. Once you have that established, you're going to focus on your meal planning routine. Once you have that established, you're going to want to go to your daily 7 home routine. Once that's set and ready to go, then you're going to want to focus on your movement routine. And once that one is in place, then you will focus on your budget routine. And by the time you get all 5 of these set up and in place, you are going to have a framework built that you're going to feel like you have some structure and you feel like you're getting things done and you're feeling organized, but you still also have a lot of flexibility, because it has created more time and space for you to have just time to breathe and time to go do some fun stuff. So I think that will be super important, is to begin with those 5 foundational routines to help you to begin building that structure. The next question is for Debbie G, or is from Debbie G. And her question is, I keep procrastinating and then fall behind on my routines and don't know whether to do my current routine or go back to the beginning and start over. What do I do when I fall behind? So, this is a really great question, because we all get into this place, because even when we have all of our routines set up and in place, it can become very overwhelming if you start to fall behind. And what I love about especially the foundational routines, is that when you have these super simple routines in place, they kind of work as a backbone that you can depend on when things start to feel chaotic and start to feel like everything's falling apart. So, very recently, we had gone through a time where I'm been doing a lot of outside appointments. We're going through some health stuff right now, and so I've been doing a lot of doctor's appointments. That's been taking up a lot of my time. I obviously have work. We have this business and building the podcast. My grandpa was also in his last months and weeks, and we were trying to get home to be with him before he passed away. And so things just kind of piled up where I was so exhausted and overwhelmed, and I was just feeling the stress of it all building up. And I started to kind of fall away from some of my routines, and then everything started feeling like it was too much. But what was really cool about this is that even though I was feeling super overwhelmed, I knew that when I was ready to reset, I knew exactly what to do. So when it was like everything just was falling apart with our meals, it's like we didn't have any food in the house. We didn't know what we were eating. It started getting frustrating. I'm like, nope, we've got a meal planning routine. And we were able to just go back, reset that, and begin our meal planning routine again. When we hadn't been going to the gym because we were tired and we were dealing with all of this stuff, when it just became to be too much and we were so tired, it's like we need to get back to the gym. So once we were home and we were back in our, normal environment, we were able to just go right back to the gym because we had already built that structure in there. We just needed to revert back to it. Same with the daily 7 home routine. Like when we felt like, okay, we're too tired to be cleaning, and all of a sudden, like everything started to get a little like irrit irritating. Like I started getting irritable about everything. And even though the house was picked up, like it just felt kind of gross. I was able to be like, okay, I just need to take 20 minutes and reset the house. And I was able to do that trigger task, get my daily 7 home routine done. And within 20, 30 minutes, I was reset. The house felt good. We had a plan for our meals. We re updated our budget. We did all of these things. We got going to the gym again. I started my morning routine again. So I had that. Well, I guess I never really stopped my morning routine, but there were things that, even though life became super chaotic, I was able to snap all of my routines back into place because I already had them set up and established. So when you are doing this, you want to start slow, build the consistency, and then when things do start falling behind, it is okay because life happens. You will fall behind at some point. But when that happens, you know exactly what's going to get you back on track because you have already built the routine that works well for you. All you need to do is just take those few minutes and snap it back into place. And then you will begin to be able to feel like you have that organization and you have that structure that can make you feel really good to continue moving forward. And I absolutely love that about the routines because if you are feeling stressed with no time to yourself, you can turn to your morning routine. If feeding your family becomes overwhelming and things are rotting in the back of your fridge, then you're going to want to go through the process to bring your meal planning routine back into place so you can quickly clean out that fridge, take an inventory of your food, write some meals on your calendar, and then get your food picked up and prepped, and you are reset and ready to go. And if you need to walk through that, that episode is 47. If you want to just use my step-by-step meal planning routine and just take that over, go ahead and copy it. But if your house is getting destroyed and it looks like a tornado went through it, then you can take that daily 7 home routine and just focus on that. If you are feeling tired and sluggish and you have no energy, then you can turn to your movement routine where you have already planned out the activities that you know that you enjoy, that you can get your body moving again to start building that energy again. If you're feeling stressed about money and bills are coming out of your ears and your account is close to overdrafting, you have the foundation to turn back to your budget routine and get reset, review that base budget, and use that template to begin planning the next month's budget. All of these can be reset and they will be your foundation to keep you aligned with your goals and to feel like you have that organization in your life. So I hope these were helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A episode. This is the first one that we've actually done. So like I said, if you have questions, feel free to send those in. And if we have enough of them, we'll do another Q&A episode, or I'll just kind of sprinkle them into the upcoming episodes to answer questions. But I have loved hearing from you guys. And if you ever have anything to tell us, we absolutely love hearing from you. And when I get an email from somebody that says that they're listening to the podcast and kind of telling me their experience about it, I absolutely love it. And I so appreciate the time that you take to write in, whether it was these questions, it was the written reviews that you've done, or just leaving 5-star reviews, or taking time to spend with us in our Facebook community. We truly enjoy all of it. Or if you share an episode with a friend that you enjoy and you think that might be beneficial to them too, we just thank you so, so very much. And I appreciate you being here. And I hope you have a wonderful next few days until we meet again for Thursday's episode.
Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.